Yes, Honorable Ambassador Jonah Koech, a former minister in several ministries and a member of parliament for Japan for a long time, more than 20 years. Well, before I say that one, is that I want to say poorly to his family for losing such a great man, and also for the country for losing such a great person who played a very big role in the development of this country. Now, if I can recall the Honorable Kibaki, he was very successful as a member of parliament. He was very successful as a minister, and he was also very successful in this country for two terms as the president of the Republic of Kenya. And he did quite a lot. Some of the programs he was started were very good. Remember the Vision 2030 is the architect of the Vision 2030. So that even when Jubilee government, this current Jubilee government came in, they followed Kibaki's 2030 vision. Because I remember when I was working in the board, I find that most of the things you are following was Kibaki's programs. Because it was very clear. You want to see, if you are leading an institution, you need to know the vision, what you want to achieve in that institution, and what you have your program every year towards achieving those objectives. And he used to make us to assess ourselves every year. You assess, you look at what you wanted to achieve and why you did not achieve, and then you find out why you didn't achieve, so that the next time you'll be able to come, you'll achieve. Kibaki also used very competent persons in various ministries. And when you work with Jomo Kenyatta, as his minister, he did quite a lot of things for this country. I remember Kibaki telling me, if there was anything new which was to be done, the president would call him, Mwai Kenyatta would call him and tell him, why you want to do this? What do you think? And then you answer and say, if we do this, it will not be good for this country. And then you ask him again, mara pili, Mwai, unasema inaharibu nchi? Nasema inaharibu. Mwambia mimi tena mara pili, inaharibu. And then Kibaki nasema inaharibu. Kibaki then Kenyatta say, wacha tuache tu. So he was professional in his approach, and he made us to approach things professionally, and we're very clear in what we want to achieve. In our meeting with Kibaki, I was some of the very prominent schools today are the ones he built. So under Kibaki regime, I served as a minister for the African community. That was in my portfolio. And what we achieved during Kibaki's regime, he was interested in building the community. He wanted the common market to succeed. And when we were dealing with the common market issues, he had asked me that we must make sure that we bring in Rwanda and Burundi joint community. So it was my program at that time, working with Kibaki, to make sure that during the conversation, because then I was chairman of Council of Ministers in Arusha, I made sure that I talked with my colleagues, and when we brought Rwanda and Burundi joint African community, because we wanted a bigger community. I see the government is still interested in doing that. I didn't work with Kibaki as a minister because at the time I was not I was a minister for 1 year when Kibaki was the minister for health, because he was no longer the vice president. So I didn't have a chance to work because my time in parliament was 1 year. I don't know to say though. Those days, it was always easy to condemn somebody you are a friend and and people were running away. That is some of the things used by the politician to make sure that certain people are not built, So Kibaki planned to do certain things, and his approach was to make sure that some of the infrastructure programs which are going to be done are cost effective, because we do what we call gross benefit analysis, so that when we done a project, that is going to produce revenue. If we are going to pay the loan, then that project will be able to bring the money to pay the loan. And another thing which is great about Kibaki is that he didn't borrow heavily from the local banks, from commercial banks. He left much of the commercial banks' money to go to come on manage for industrialists to borrow, because if he knew that if we borrow so much, then the private sector will not have money to borrow. I mean, in contrast with what we are doing now, is that the current government, since they came in 2013, they borrowed heavily from banks and brought the private sector in the double development. But Kibaki was very worried about that one. There was a lot of money in the banks, and he was asking people to come and take the money. And he didn't take it to run the government programs. We were working with Kibaki, everything was professional. There was a role I would play as a minister, and I'm not restricted. But then when I go to Arusha, I've got a clear target, and I've got a very clear instruction what I need to do. So I have got to work on those programs, and of course you give a report. The president will be getting a report of what you are doing, and you work with the professionals. You know, when you work with the professionals, it's not difficult. In my ministry, I had a PS who is professional. I had people who are dealing with trade, which are professionals. We had people who are dealing with so many other sectors of that ministry. And when you work with those people professionally, you never fail. You always get it right. You know, let me tell you one thing. You know, I lost my seat because I supported Kibaki. Because at that time, people didn't like Kibaki. But these days, even our people here are saying Kibaki was a successful president. They are not saying, you know, Nigeria don't know anything. And even when you are going to say that Nigeria have got to make decisions, I only pray that we got good leaders who are going to be professionals and they will help the people. People, we must have leaders. Kibaki was a leader. He was showing the way forward. And he made sure that he had a vision to carry the country forward. Because if you are going to wait one Mwanangi there, he doesn't know. And again, he doesn't have the necessary information to make a decision. But when you are on the reign, you have got the treasury, you have got the ministry of planning. And if you use those ones very well, and they follow the instruction, you find the economy will always become strong. Take for example the case of exchange rates. Exchange rate never changed by itself. During Kenyatta time, the exchange rate was the Kenya shilling. A dollar was equivalent to 70 Kenya shillings, and the Kenya pound was 200. And then this depends on the way you expand. If you expand irrationally, then you weaken the exchange rate. So Kibaki was very particular about that one. Because he used to say, when you have a deficit, it's about 10%. Deficit can only be allowed, but not more than that, because it becomes inflation and it spoils the country.